Welcome to our deep dive into the Battle of the Coral Sea, a pivotal five-day confrontation that unfolded in May 1942. This was a groundbreaking clash where opposing forces, the United States and Japan, never sighted each other by eye, engaging instead via aircraft launched from their carriers. A brutal ballet in the skies, underlined by the resilience of their naval forces, resulted in a stalemate with profound strategic implications. Join us as we unpack this turning point in World War II, the first carrier versus carrier battle in history that forever changed the landscape of naval warfare. Day 1. In the annals of World War II, the Battle of the Coral Sea holds a unique place. This clash, which spanned from May 4th to May 8th, 1942, was the first naval engagement in history where opposing forces grappled without ever catching sight of each other. The vast expanse of the Coral Sea became a chessboard, with aircraft carriers and their supporting vessels as the pieces, and the sky above a battleground where the fate of nations was decided. As dawn broke on May 4th, the American Task Force 17, under the command of Rear Admiral Frank J. Fletcher, stirred into action. The task force, a formidable assembly of the aircraft carriers USS Yorktown and USS Lexington, along with a phalanx of cruisers and destroyers, set sail from Noumea, New Caledonia. Their destination, the Coral Sea, a vast canvas of blue where they would etch their mark in history. Simultaneously, the Japanese carrier strike force, led by the steely-eyed Vice Admiral Takeo Takagi, embarked from Rabaul, New Britain. Their fleet, boasting the carriers Shokaku and Zuikaku, along with a retinue of supporting vessels, had a clear mission: to bolster the Japanese forces primed for the invasion of Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea. Throughout that first day, the skies buzzed with reconnaissance aircraft from both sides. Like hawks, they scoured the sea, their pilots' eyes straining to spot the telltale signs of the enemy's carrier forces. Yet, the vastness of the Coral Sea swallowed all hints, and direct contact remained elusive. The day was a game of hide-and-seek on a grand scale, with the stakes as high as they could be. The opening day of the Battle of the Coral Sea was a dance of giants. The carrier task forces, each a floating city of steel and firepower, maneuvered and positioned, drawing ever closer to each other. It was the calm before the storm, a deceptive lull that belied the fierce aerial battles that would light up the Coral Sea in the days to come. Day 2. May 5th, 1942. A day of screaming engines and ominous clouds of smoke. Under the expansive azure expanse of the Coral Sea, the battle was already at a fever pitch. Indeed, the Pacific's tropical tranquility had been rudely awakened by the drumming engines of war. Dawn saw the sleek, predatory forms of Japanese aircraft from the carriers Shokaku and Zuikaku, bearing down with menacing resolve. These airborne chariots of destruction, their bellies heavy with the payload of devastation, aimed at the heart of American naval power in the Coral Sea. Their target? The proud Titans, USS Lexington and USS Yorktown. Yet the American carriers were no sitting ducks. They were the formidable giants of the sea, ready to retaliate with a wrath as vast as the ocean they sailed on. It was a dance of steel and smoke. As Japanese aircraft pierced the skies with murderous intent, dive bombers and torpedo planes from the USS Lexington and USS Yorktown rose to meet them, a deadly ballet unfolding across the vast canvas of sky and sea. But even the bravest of warriors must sometimes yield to relentless assaults. The USS Lexington, despite its valiant defense, was left smoldering and wounded by the Japanese onslaught. Fires blossomed like deadly flowers, and explosions rattled the hulking body of the carrier. It was a mortal wound. The Lexington would not sail beyond this day. In contrast, the USS Yorktown, also a victim of Japanese fury, stood its ground. It writhed under the onslaught, yes, but like a phoenix, it emerged from the inferno. Its crew, working with a desperate yet determined frenzy, managed to tame the beast of fire, preserving the Yorktown's vital heartbeat. Meanwhile, the Japanese were not immune to American retaliation. The Shokaku, drenched in oil and flame from the angry beaks of American warbirds, was forced to limp away, a wounded lion retreating for healing. While the Zuikaku, the second Japanese predator, was also injured, it held firm. Despite the scars of battle etched on its surface, it remained a menacing player in the bloody theater of war. The day was not only about titanic carriers. Above them, the sky was alive with the buzz of smaller combatants. These were the aircraft, the airborne knights of their respective nations, engaging in fierce duels, their trails crisscrossing the sky like frantic signatures on the grim parchment of battle. As night fell and the battle-ridden day slowly bled into evening, both sides withdrew, their thirst for victory momentarily quenched. The battered American and Japanese forces, their machines of war leaving vast, churning trails in their wake, retreated to lick their wounds. The second day of the Battle of Coral Sea was a whirlwind of turmoil and bravery, a testament to the human spirit's resilience amidst chaos. USS Lexington was lost, forever now a part of the Coral Sea. The USS Yorktown and the Japanese carriers, though battered, lived to fight another day. As the sun set on this cataclysmic day, one could only wait, with bated breath, for the next wave of conflict to break on the Coral Sea's shimmering surface. Day 3. Emerging from the shadows of the second day, May 6, 1942, dawned, its promising sunlight reflecting off the once placid, now boiling Coral Sea. The mighty naval forces of the United States and the Empire of Japan, engaged in this monumental contest, remained as intertwined as ever. Seeking to close their iron grasp around the elusive American carriers, the Japanese forces, anchored by the scarred but defiant Zuikaku, scoured the endless expanse of blue. Alas, their hunt was tainted by the treacherous twins of incorrect intelligence and communication missteps, leaving the precise whereabouts of their quarry cloaked in mystery. Simultaneously, the damaged but resolute USS Yorktown, fresh from hasty overnight repairs, veered itself strategically closer to the swirling vortex of conflict. Its engines thrummed with renewed resolve, the beast awakened and ready to pounce. As the sun began its ascent, a swarm of steel birds broke free from the USS Yorktown, their metallic wings glinting menacingly in the sunlight. With sights set on the Zuikaku, they plunged into a storm of anti-aircraft fire. However, braving this hailstorm of death, they managed to kiss the Zuikaku with their deadly payloads, sparking fires and fracturing the carrier's ability to send her own birds aloft. It was a blow that cut deep. The Zuikaku's once formidable air group lay decimated under the American assault, a nest of fallen hawks that could no longer darken the sky. With the spirit of a cornered beast, the wounded Zuikaku lashed back at the USS Yorktown. Yet, like a seasoned matador, the American carrier danced elegantly around the incoming assaults. The Japanese avenging strikes found only empty sea and air. The USS Yorktown remained defiantly unscathed. Throughout this third day, the skies continued to bear witness to a spectacular symphony of aerial carnage. Dogfights stitched the air with tracers, while bombers weaved a deadly tapestry of explosions on the sea. Each side gave as good as it got, the metallic remains of their aircraft marking their sacrifices in the waters below. But as the day waned and the sun dipped towards the horizon, no decisive victory was claimed. The battle seemed to mirror the restless sea, forever in flux, the opponents continuously jockeying for advantage, their fates intertwined. The third day of the Battle of Coral Sea was as intense as the ones before, a swirling saga of bravery and resilience, tactical acumen, and bitter setbacks. The USS Yorktown, though hounded, held its ground, while the Zuikaku, though battered, was still a formidable adversary. As the sun set, the sea seemed to hold its breath in anticipation of the conflict yet to come. Day 4, May 7, 1942. The fourth day of this mighty nautical clash erupted with the sizzling fervor of the Coral Sea's sun, an apt metaphor for the burning resolve of the United States and Japanese naval forces. The USS Yorktown, scarred yet unbowed from the previous day's trials, greeted the new day with a fresh bout of vitality. Her overnight repairs bore fruit, allowing this symbol of American resilience to plunge once more into the churning depths of the battle. Dawn bore witness to a flurry of activity, as both American and Japanese carrier forces unsheathed their aerial knights. Propellers buzzed and engines roared, their collective resonance a testament to the deadly clash to come. Swooping down like an eagle upon an unsuspecting prey, The USS Yorktown's air group descended upon the Japanese carrier Shokaku. The American aviators threaded the needle of enemy defenses, their payloads finding their mark. The Shokaku reeled under the onslaught, its operational capabilities shattered under the rain of American steel. Retaliation was swift, and the Zuikaku threw its own winged warriors into the fray, seeking to exact vengeance upon the USS Yorktown. But the American carrier was no easy prey. Like a willow in the wind, it danced around the incoming strikes, their damage largely negligible, its readiness for combat unhampered. But for the Shokaku, the day's ordeal proved too severe. The ravaged carrier, victim to the relentless strikes from the USS Yorktown, was compelled to withdraw from the theater of war. Limping towards the sanctuary of repairs, it left its sister ship, the Zuikaku, as the solitary Japanese carrier prowling the contested waters. This tumultuous day wasn't devoid of the now customary dance of aerial combatants. Their maneuvers and daring swoops stitched a brutal ballet in the skies, their deadly rain of bullets and bombs a grim reminder of the stakes involved. The day, much like the ones preceding it, drew its bloody toll from both sides. Aircraft dashed against sea and sky, carriers etched with new scars of battle. Yet as the sun's light began to retreat, making way for the quietude of the night, no side could claim a decisive upper hand. The battle continued its tempestuous rhythm, each side gauging, maneuvering, and striking, the balance of power oscillating with each passing hour. The fourth day of the Battle of Coral Sea was a testament to the relentless dance of war, the day's gains and losses adding another chapter to this epic saga. The USS Yorktown, despite its trials, emerged as a thorn in the Japanese's side, particularly with its crippling strike on the Shokaku. The battle's pendulum continued to swing, and as the fourth day gave way to the fifth, the final outcome hung in the balance. Day 5. As the first light of May 8, 1942 pierced the heavens, the fifth day of the Battle of Coral Sea was unveiled. The naval forces of the United States and Japan, with resolve as steadfast as ever, resumed their tumultuous dance in the vast aquatic theater. Both forces dug deep into their strategic reserves as the Japanese juggernaut, represented by the lone Zuikaku, loosed a flurry of aerial threats towards its American nemesis, the USS Yorktown. The airborne Japanese warriors found their mark, bombarding the USS Yorktown with an array of torpedoes and bombs, the destructive symphony resounding across the open sea. Yet, like a phoenix from the ashes, the USS Yorktown retaliated. With its avian armada airborne, it rained its own torrent of vengeance upon the Zuikaku. The American assault left the Japanese carrier scarred and wounded, its capacity to both launch and recover aircraft severely impeded. Each carrier bore the scars of their mortal combat, yet, testament to their crew's unwavering resolve and commendable damage control efforts, neither succumbed to the sea's fatal embrace. They remained afloat and operational, grim reminders of the price of war. The skies continued to serve as the stage for the deadly ballet between the two forces' aircraft. Amid the sweeping aerial dogfights, the carriers dispatched their metal birds, eyes peeled for enemy ships, wings ready to shield their own fleet. The hours ticked away, every passing minute marked by the toll of shot-down aircraft and carriers echoing their torment through further damage. A silent observer would note the increasing symmetry of the confrontation, neither side pulling ahead decisively. An air of inconclusiveness began to pervade the battle, and amidst this, the Japanese commanders, grappling with the specter of a potential failure at Port Moresby, decided to withdraw their carrier force from the Coral Sea. Unaware of the blow they had dealt to the Zuikaku, the American forces too, perhaps sensing the day's ambiguous conclusion, commenced their withdrawal. The fifth and final day of the Battle of Coral Sea was one of intense aerial engagements and persistent pressure on both American and Japanese carriers. Although no clear victor emerged from this colossal conflict, it served as a strategic success for the Allies, as it effectively stymied the Japanese advance towards Port Moresby. The Battle of Coral Sea will forever remain etched in the annals of naval warfare as a significant turning point. The inaugural carrier versus carrier battle, underscoring the profound importance of air power in maritime operations. This battle, with its strategic implications and lessons, set the stage for the Pacific Theater's unfolding narrative.